Okay. Can everyone see my screen? Okay. Cool. All right, now I can get started. So what's on the agenda? We're gonna basically stuff that happened since last virtual meetup. We're gonna talk about how how to apply to be an organizer, and what other Cyber Republic tasks are already out there, and basically general stuff like that, because we do keep getting questions about this, so just wanted to address that on this meetup. Okay, so the next one is anniversary event, and I briefly wanted to touch up on we do have our early Constitution for Cyber Republic, the draft version. Obviously, it's still being reviewed, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then an idea to have a weekly report of sorts for the Cyber Republic members, and briefly talk about the end-to-end demo, and then wrap up. All right, so review since last meetup. So if you haven't checked out the recent news, we actually put it out today along with the video. The blockchain testnet for that we released, it's actually open to the public, so you can start mining your test Ella in your own computer to play around with that. Do some fake transactions between different accounts. You can do any sort of thing, and you can also build your own wallet if you wanted to, because all the API calls, you should be able to interact with them on the testnet. Now, if you wanted to, if you're really serious about that, and if you're already if you wanted to integrate Ella into another wallet or something like that, you can first play around with the testnet, and then see and then go from there. So the next topic is Kevin gave a talk at the ABC blockchain meetup. It was hosted at Cheetah Mobile, I think. You can check out the video at his YouTube channel. And then the video contest has ended. We got some great submissions, especially the top 5 winners. Those were some really good videos. Actually, top 10 winners have been announced, so you can check that out at our article site. And some of the tech updates: main chain now supports building of sidechains and also merge mining, as it was revealed a couple of weeks ago, and last weekly report as well. I'm wondering why this is here. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to worry about that. So we have the wallet mobile app is also open source. It's on GitHub. It's basically an HTML5 app, mobile app. It's still in development, so not much there, but at least it's open source, so you can start looking at it, like how that is, and submit bug issues that you might find or something like that. Are you guys seeing the weird marks on the board here? I'm not sure who is doing that. Let me see if I can turn that off. Does anyone know how to turn that off? No, I don't think I selected whiteboard. Let me share it again. Okay, I think that's better. All right. All right. And Kevin also, and Elastos actually won the Best Public Chain Award and an Outstanding Achievement Award at the 6th SME Investment and Finance Expo in Beijing. And Kevin answered some questions on his YouTube channel, the video that I was talking about earlier. There were some really good questions, so please be sure to check the first comment out. There's some really good answers to some of the questions that you might have had. All right, some questions from the community. Will Elastos provide an Elastos-specific sidechain option to DApp developers that want to build directly on top of Elastos? If so, any details about how this will work? So just a brief background, I've been asking people to submit their questions through Telegram, like for the last couple of days, so that we can address it on virtual meetup. So these are all the questions that I got. So in the future, if you wanted your question addressed by Kevin, Clarence, and I, then be sure to either like private message me or something, and we'll be sure to address that in the future. So as far as this question goes, I'm not exactly sure what this question is actually asking. I think from what I'm gathering, they're asking if Elastos is going to provide some sort of sidechain support for DApp developers where they can easily build. That's what I'm going to assume. And the answer is yes. It will be, you'll be able to create your own sidechain. Again, this is early stage, but more things will come along next month and the following after that. So stay tuned for like how that will work. We'll be making videos on everything as the development is complete and it's being rolled out, similar to the testnet launch that we had today. Also, if you didn't know, the ID sidechain it was already released, so that's one of the first sidechains of Elastos. So it should be very straightforward to build your own sidechains in the future. At least that's the goal. So I have muted everyone. Kevin and Clarence, let me know if you wanted to pitch into these questions, but if not, I'm just going to answer them. All right. So the next question is, when VMs for different chains like Neo and EOS are done and they start using Elastos, they have to pay a certain amount of total supply to the foundation, and do they pay 80% of it as airdrops? I think there's a little confusion here. Whenever you port, like Ethereum, smart contract VM or Neo or whatever, you're actually porting the VM to work on, to work on top of Elastos. So again, I can't say for certain because this is also early stage development, but the sidechain that would be, utilizing the Ethereum VM, the customized, the ported Ethereum VM or Neo VM or whatever, they will live in their own sidechain. So they won't even have, they will likely, they might have their tokens, if we just decide to fork the entire Ethereum blockchain and then get it here. Yeah, in that case, there would be tokens there. But usually it's still up in the air, like how that's going to work. So we'll have to see, like, as far as the second question, not every project has to, pay like 80% of it. I'm not sure what they're asking with this, but it only has to do with the Elastos ecosystem projects that are collaborating with Elastos. Basically, most of the projects that teams that are trying to develop their app early on, like be early adopters, like right now, then usually, we try to collaborate with them and try to provide the features that they want for out of Elastos. So that those are the sort of collaboration projects when we say Elastos ecosystem projects. So there's going to be a lot of those projects, and it's, it really depends on a project by project basis, but 2 to 5%. That's why the loose term is like 2 to 5%. If you didn't read the article about the airdrop mechanism a while ago, even that is only valid for the next 6 months. So, after 6 months, that might change too. So it's entirely up in the air. Next question, can you explain in detail regarding sidechains and friend chains? There seems to be a lot of confusion regarding this in the community, and the white paper is a bit confusing too. So this is a really good question. I think that, there has been some misconception about sidechains and friend chains. Let me just answer this in a straightforward way. So sidechains live in the Elastos ecosystem. So a sidechain actually can have its own token, or it may not have its own token. Either or really doesn't matter. It's entirely up to the sidechain how they want to implement their, like for instance, for ID sidechain, well, it doesn't make sense to have its own token. it uses Ella as the for the transaction fees for the ID sidechain. But there might be other sidechain, that someone wants to develop, and they might have their own token too. So so these pretty much live within the Elastos ecosystem. So those are sidechains, right? Friend chains, they actually live outside of Elastos ecosystem. So the main purpose of really friend chains, the reason that we even coined the term friend chains for them is because the goal is to have some sort of atomic swap, like cross-chain communication between Elastos main chain and these friend chains. So like right now, let's say an example of a friend chain would be, I don't know, Neo or Ethereum even, or Cardano or whatever. Those have to do with the exchange of tokens. So anyways, I hope that was clear. Kevin, did you want to add something to that, or should I move on? You can type it in the chat and I'll unmute you if you want to. Okay. I guess. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The main confusion was people were assuming that sidechains will not have their own tokens. That is not the case. Sidechain can have their own token. But it's entirely up to them if they want to have their own token or not, All right, I hope that was clear. Let's move on. Wanted to talk about, yes, so what Kevin is saying, for those of you who are not looking at the chat, he said, he did explain, I think in one of his videos or something, about the sidechain, friend chain thing. So he had made a mistake about that. So I guess we also wanted to correct that. So whatever explanation I gave today is actually the, how you should view these side chains and friend chains. So when Ethereum VM gets ported over to Elastos as a side chain, then that's actually a side chain. It's not considered a friend chain. Friend chain lives outside of Elastos ecosystem. All right. Upcoming meetups. India, July 27th. We got a lot of meetups coming up. In Shenzhen, Vancouver. I don't have the date here because I guess I forgot to put that in there for Vancouver. But yeah, it is tomorrow. And oh, okay. Clarence told me that India meetup already happened. So, all right. So we have Vancouver. I believe that was tweeted out earlier this afternoon, but if not, we'll be sure to tweet that out right after this meetup as far as the details on the Vancouver meetup. We have August 1, Seoul, San Diego, August 7th, Toronto, August 14th, Melbourne, Australia. We have the anniversary event on the 25th, and then Bangkok on the 29th, and then China again, and then Singapore. There's a lot of those meetups that are coming up, leading up to the anniversary event and even after. So these will continue to happen, and these are all organized by the community members. All right. So a lot of people, when they first start, like they always ask us, how can you be an organizer? Well, the first thing is you got to register on the Cyber Republic site. So that's the first thing that you should do. And then see how you can contribute. Check out all the help section, help page, about page, frequently asked questions page, everything. And then register for the site. And then you can actually go to your own local community and then apply to be an organizer. And I can show you like how that works here, but there's already, it should be pretty self-explanatory once you log in. And then the next thing is, as soon as you apply to be an organizer, we would like to have some sort of, Zoom meeting or face-to-face meeting if you're close. You can think of it as your KYC, where we try to get to know you better so that we can, see where you're coming from, how you can help us, and things like that. And then after that, we usually approve you to be an organizer. And right after that, you submit your event proposal with the appropriate budget. And you can already take a look at the examples, on our GitHub site. And then let's say your event proposal gets approved, and then you can immediately start working on the event. Only after your proposal gets approved, because there might be some cases where we might ask you to modify something, or whatever the case may be, and then you can start working on the event, and doing whatever you need to do. When you do the meetup, make sure to record everything on video, because we always watch these recorded meetups afterwards so that we can give you feedback on how you can improve, or what to do for the next meetup or something like that. And two of our community members, Rosh and I forgot the other person's name. They wrote a really nice guide on how to organize a meetup. So it's very detailed. I guess we can put that up on cyberrepublic.org so that it's visible for everyone. But if you're on Slack, you should already know what I'm talking about. The guide for the meetup, like how you can organize the meetup, what to do before, during, and after. And then you do all of that, and then you basically, give you feedback. We give you feedback, and then that's how you can be an organizer. It's pretty straightforward, but always make sure to ask us any questions along the way. Don't hesitate. Wanting to talk briefly about Cyber Republic tasks. Oh, okay. Cyber Republic task. There are a few tasks in Cyber Republic that are publicly visible, but there are already a lot of meetup tasks, or any other tasks that people have created that are not really visible by everyone, but we've talked internally, and hopefully we'll have some sort of public view on all these tasks so that everyone is aware of what kind of tasks there are, and what is being worked on by the community. Because even if you, like today, if you were to go there, you're probably going to see 5 or 6 different tasks that is visible to you, but in fact there's way too many tasks in the backlog and things like that. So those are all being worked on. So hopefully we can get some sort of public view in the future. That's on the to-do list. And then let me go over the Cyber Republic website. So join the Cyber Republic. Okay, I'm gonna log in. And then if you go to events page, if you go to tasks, then you see that Zach, our weekly writer, actually put out a task for the technical article. I don't think anyone has applied for this yet. So if you know someone or something, or even it basically tells you, what you need to do. All you have to do is apply for this task, and then we can start the conversation from there. That's one of the tasks. And the other task that we also made public is, and by the way, the technical article, the reward for that is 10 Ella. Then we have also a referral bounty for organizers. So basically, yeah, I see that only Rosh has commented. But this is for anyone, anyone can just go in there and apply for this task, because you can see that max applicants available are 100. And it's if you can refer to us who might be a potential organizer, especially we're looking for a lot of organizers in the US currently, because we already have lots of organizers, in Europe, Australia, and we're trying to get the same thing in the US. It doesn't matter, if you know someone who's really good, if they're in other parts of the world, we'll look at them too. But usually we are looking to focus on, as you can see here, United States. So if you know someone, you basically refer potential organizers, and then you basically send their contacts to cyberrepublic@elastos.org. And then if they become an organizer, then we actually reward you some Ella. That's pretty easy, guys. So you should probably get on that. All right. If you go to community, you can actually select United States, whatever community that you want. As you can see, we only have one organizer in the US. Well, who is actually listed here. If you go to Thailand, I guess we don't have. Well, they're probably not here. We got Vietnam, everywhere. Let me go to admin page. And go to communities. See, it tells you, it tells me that Australia has an organizer, and there might be multiple organizers in the same community, so that's not a problem. Like Austria, Belgium, Colombia, Hungary, Italy, Ireland. There's so many of these. So someone wrote on this screen again. All right, please don't do that, whoever that is. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one, which is our anniversary announcement. You already should know about this. Oh yeah, a little note from Clarence is, oh yeah, let me unmute Clarence here. He wants to talk. Hold on. All right, you should be unmuted.
Right. So just to clarify, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I just wanted to clarify that Cyber Republic, the reason why you don't see that many tasks is right now we're using it as an internal tool for the organizers to communicate with, the Elastos team. And what we'll have for the public eventually is that what KP was talking about, which is the events page, public page. And that'll probably be on the Elastos main site, but it'll feed off of CR Cyber Republic. So, any events that get approved and actually are going to actually happen, then you'll actually see them on the events.elastos.org site. So we'll see a lot more things going on there. So you can actually see what's going on in, with all the organizers in the community.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, cool.
I can hear your dog. All right. So if you haven't checked out the form where you can submit your hello video to Elastos, there's a form. I'm gonna make this PowerPoint slide public, and you can let me quickly go to our community site so you know where everything is. Just go to github.com/elastos, the elastos.community. And then if you come to Elastos Virtual Meetup, there's actually a link to all the past YouTube recording and the PowerPoint slides and everything. So this is always updated. So, all right, let me hop back in. So you can register. Well, you can submit your own video for that. We have the training program. This only some of you guys have noticed, and this is for a very select few individuals. And we basically were trying to have more evangelists for Elastos who can communicate about the Elastos tech better. So we have the training program right before the anniversary event. All right, so the main anniversary event is actually on August 25th. It will be live streamed on YouTube. Jesus, someone did that again. Do I need to stop sharing? Okay, they removed it. Thank you. And then post-anniversary recap and Q&A. That will also be live streamed on YouTube. And there's also a Zoom meeting. And that one, we have 2 of these post-anniversary recap and Q&A because we wanted to make it so that everyone from all over the world can participate. So like the time for Europe, might not be very friendly for the US residents. So we decided to have like multiple recaps. So you can join either one of them or both of them, really doesn't matter. But the one on August 25th, which is the first recap, that's going to have a lot of content. And that will be also longer. But then again, everything will be recorded. So it will be, if you do miss it, we'll put it on YouTube later. And then the second recap is on the morning of the 26th. And this is more catered to us, towards the US, people living in the US, so that we can have them join us as well. So that's the plan. I wanted to talk about. Okay, I do have this link here for 1-year anniversary event that talks about the location, the event dates, and then the agenda, like what it is, like 9 to 11:30. There's the main event, there's a break, and then 14 to 17, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. There's DApp meetups and presentations, and then the recap is right after at 8:30 p.m. Bangkok time in the morning. We'll have the live stream links coming soon here, and we'll probably start advertising this link right after this meetup, so that if you know someone who can't make it to Thailand and they would like to join in on YouTube, then they can just come to this link. And then eventually, before the anniversary event, we'll have the YouTube link here for everything, so that you can just go there and check it out. All right. That's for the anniversary event. Let me hop back in. Okay. As I talked about earlier, we have a rough draft, a version, 2.0. I would call it 0.2 actually, for the Constitution. There were a lot of feedback for the first version from the community, a lot of questions, suggestions, so we took that into account. And then we basically wrote the second version of it to address all those questions and comments. And these documents are public, and anyone can directly view them and actually comment and put on their questions, feedback, suggestions, whatever. So please don't ask about the Constitution on Telegram and Slack, just because that will make this available. Or if you, you can just go to these links, and then, if you have some feedback, if you see some mistake or something, then you can comment on them directly. And then we'll likely go through, these iterations before we make the final draft of the Constitution. So that's the goal. So we actually have, 4 different documents. One of them is Elastos Constitution. The other talks about the voting rules. The other talks about the collective governance committee founding document, and then the conflict of interest policy. So feel free to check that out. All right. So I had this crazy idea. Well, not crazy, but basically right now we have a weekly report for our, weekly newsletter on elastos.org, where we send out, weekly emails for whoever has subscribed to the newsletter about the technical updates and, thoughts and conclusions and whatever happened during the last week. We want to do something similar for Cyber Republic contributors as well, so that we'll and nothing is there yet, but we are going to have some sort of sign up. You can sign up for a newsletter option so that we'll start sending out these weekly reports exclusively related to Cyber Republic. So, any sort of new tasks that are created, tasks that are being worked on, tasks that are open, ongoing development progress, like where we are on the features and, stuff like that, future roadmap, like we'll also have some sort of elaborated weekly technical updates so that, so someone is telling me he can't hear anything. Can everyone else hear me? Okay. Okay. I think it might be you, C Note Crypto. You might want to re-log in or something. Okay. So the goal is to have all that and also maybe elaborate on these technical updates so that it's easier because we'll have a lot of developers joining Cyber Republic. It makes sense to have something like this where we talk, we can be as technical as we want to and actually talk about the progress and, have these videos, technical videos, demos, whatever, anything that has to do with like developer related tasks, anything like that, or non-developer really, but we'll be focusing on the development side of things. We'll be sure to include that on the weekly report. So the format will be similar to the weekly report that you're already receiving for the main elastos.org. But this will deal exclusively for Cyber Republic members only. All right. Weekly report. Okay. All right. We got some time. So Elastos end-to-end demo. This is, I'm going to show something and don't think of this as the final version because it's not. I would call it early version of alpha. So a lot might change between now and the anniversary or even afterwards. So it's a work in progress. Just, keep that in mind as I show something here. I think I already have this open. All right, can everyone see my screen here for the demo? Can I get a yes or no on chat? Okay, cool. Hey, everyone said yes, cool. All right, so this is running on my local machine, really. And this is just an emulator because it was just easier to show like this. So I can select like iPhone, Android, or, or like Windows form, I guess. I also have the web version here. But anyways, so let's say I'm not gonna go over like everything, each and every detail, but I will show something here. So, let's say a basic UI of wallet. Again, this will definitely change, hopefully. So think of it as an early version. But you can see that, we got these different accounts for testing. You can send, input target address, amount, and then you can remove the wallet, the master wallet. You can go to the setting, put your nickname in there, add your friends on your wallet, and things like that. I have a local Ditto server running. You can think of this like as a personal home drive where you store your, personal videos, in your, I don't know, Raspberry Pi, or your, your PC or Mac, whatever you can as long as you can, install this Ditto server there, you can put this will, excuse me, sorry. This is pretty much like your own personal cloud drive, so to speak, where it might be running locally in your own machine, and then from anywhere on the internet you'll be able to access these videos, and that's pretty much the idea of this Ditto server. So I actually have some videos here. Well, let me. You can pretty much browse whatever is in that Ditto server. So you see that there's a video here. Obviously. Let me try to turn this. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but this is really low quality video, but I don't know what. So Jeremy says he has no audio. I'm not sure if he's talking about me talking or the video itself, because the video sound is pretty low. Anyways, all right, we got, let's see what else. I got Aquaman official trailer. And this is kind of messed up right now because it's not showing the entire thing. But as you can see, you can store anything here, and it'll be like your own personal, file server that you can access from anywhere in the world, because all the traffic is taken over by Elastos carrier. So you'll be able to access it from anywhere. And then we got, all right, let's go to IPFS. So the difference between, if you think about, your Ditto server, or so someone asked, it's a free cloud storage. So it is free because it's your own, you're using your computer to store that. It's your own personal cloud drive. So you can use like a spare computer or like a Raspberry Pi, which costs like $35 actually. And then you can have your own, Ditto server there, and then store any of your files or videos, whatever. And then you can access it from, this app from anywhere in the world. That's the goal. That's your own personal drive. That's the purpose of this Ditto server. And then when it comes to IPFS, that works a little different, because in IPFS, there's this whole network, the IPFS network, where, if you wanted to store some video, then it will be distributed all over the world, like the small pieces and whatever. They'll be all over the world distributed, and then you can pretty much stream. You can store your IPFS, your video on IPFS, and then you'll be able to play it as well. So this is the exact same video as your personal drive, but it's in the cloud. So it'll utilize, like if we're talking about the view chain, like the service that they offer, what do they call it? DPFS, decentralized private file system, or something like that. So yes, DPFS. So with DPFS, so you would be, for your app, if you don't want, you can create your own micro website like this, where you save everything in your Ditto server. But obviously, if your business grows to be really big, you can't really serve millions of customers from your home. That's not possible. So for cases like that, because everything is decentralized, you can utilize their service so that you can store, any of your files in this IPFS or DPFS, and then you'll be able to access those videos, movies, your files, whatever, from anywhere in the world. And I don't want to go into details like how IPFS works, but it's pretty much used to serve many thousands of customers compared to your Ditto server, which is like it's using your own home network bandwidth. So not much you can do if you have lots of customers there. But with DPFS, it'll actually cache, and whenever Elastos carrier needs to find like this video, if you're in Japan or something, it'll try to find this and find this video as quickly as possible from by going to all these different nodes in the network, and then basically that's the goal of DPFS. All right, there was a question. So is it possible using this as web hosting for personal website? Yes, it is possible. And as Clarence said, static website. It's a little tricky with the dynamic website. So if you have like static content, like videos, things like that, nothing too major, it's a perfect use case. But then again, like if you don't want to use their service because you're using this DPFS service, you're going to have to pay for that service. But you can use your own Ditto server to host your own micro website and actually be able to, if you wanted to, add your friends, your family members, you can give access only to them to your Ditto server, and they can access it. So something like that should be possible. Those are called micro websites. So like a simple blog, yes, kind of. For like more sophisticated websites, there's a lot involved, and you can't do everything with with these technology. You need to combine a lot of other things as well, which I don't want to go into detail here. But yeah. Anyways, so that was a brief demo here. We got the wallet, IPFS, Ditto. Again, this is like the early version. So hopefully we'll have a lot more people, taking up the Cyber Republic task, or, creating their own. You can already, start having your own micro website and actually start playing around with that, and stuff like that. So. You wanted to talk, Clarence? Okay, let me unmute you. All right, you are unmuted.
Hey, so just wanted to give you guys a quick update on development on the Cyber Republic side. We've added 2 more developers now, and we have 2 leads now that are managing a lot of stuff, so things will be moving a lot faster. And one of the cool features that we're adding is the Teams feature, and we've decided to make it really cool. So something like if you ever play online video, like massive MMOs, something like a party finder, so you can search for teams or look for teams that are recruiting and join teams that so you can form a team of developers that you can say, oh, I want some JavaScript developers with this kind of experience, and then people can go in there and look for a team to join. And as for projects, we'll have a lot being released. I can't give specifics. I think some cool announcements to come up, but we'll definitely have a lot of projects and more tasks in Cyber Republic coming up at the anniversary event. So stay tuned for that. I think after the anniversary event, once you go back to Cyber Republic, it could be a totally different website because it will actually have things to do in there. Cool. That's all. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for the update. Just one last thing before we wrap this up, since we're almost out of time, and then we'll take some questions here. This is the web version, I guess. It's pretty much, it looks exactly the same. That's the benefit of like developing your application using Ionic Cordova framework, because it's cross-platform. Anyways, let's wrap this up. Next meetup, again, to be dated. We don't know yet, so be on the lookout for that. We got 44 people joining today, so that's really good. All right, I'm gonna unmute Kevin now, so he can give us his, if he has anything to share, words of wisdom. All right, you are unmuted, I think. Kevin, can you talk?
Oh yeah. Okay, great. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you for coming for today's meeting. And there are a few things I'm gonna share to other people. First thing is there will be a Vancouver meetup tomorrow. So some people asked it on the chat. I already posted the URL. So anybody who is in the Greater Vancouver area, welcome to UBC. We're going to have a talk over there. And since it's not a very big place, it's not not kind of a lecture. It's most likely a discussion. So people sit together to answer questions, ask questions, so something like that. It's very cozy stuff. And another thing is, I really encourage people to be active on Cyber Republic. I know we are very active in the Telegram. Everybody talk a lot of Telegram. It's very popular. But I really hope everybody to spend more time on the Cyber Republic. We actually do have some tasks that many people can help us, and we also reward Ella. Some of them, I think everybody can do. For example, we have a task. We ask people who refer some a local community leader to help us to organize the events, because we don't know everybody. We don't know any all of the leaders globally. So if you know some people, even if you are not, but you know some people in the local community, especially blockchain technology community, you know some, you can refer to us. Then we can contact those people to help to organize local organization, local meetups. So if you do that, we can give you some bonus for referral. This kind of events, this kind of a task is very easy to many people. You just go there to help us. That's very important for us to build the global local community. And the last thing I'm going to ask is KP already mentioned at the beginning of the meetup. We are looking for people to record some short videos to send to us. Rush, the guy in Australia, he made a perfect video already. I really hope more people can send the video to us. We're gonna use the video to make a small opening video in our anniversary in Thailand. So if you can show us, give us a video, your video probably gonna be shown in the big screen and broadcast all over the world. So this is also an opportunity to everybody to show up to the public. So I really hope everyone to send some videos to us. We're looking for to see your smile on the screen. Okay, so that's it.
Awesome. So I have unmuted you, Clarence, and myself. We'll be taking questions if anyone has any. So feel free to type it up, or if you wanted to speak, you can raise your hand, whatever.
Nobody asked questions. You can type on the chat as well if you want.
Yeah.
IOAN. What is IOAN?
That's a.
Oh yeah, we know that term. What are we playing? I think there's some games coming up on Elastos using the SDK.
Hey, there you go.
That'd be cool. But
do you have any link for the testnet and mining feature? So I actually made a demo video explaining all of that, like how you can get started, mining your own test Ella on the testnet, and creating your own wallet and an application using the API, all of that. If you haven't checked out the link, be sure to check out the one of the latest articles that we put out. Or you can just private message me and I can send you the link directly after this. So, or if someone else has the link already, they can put it here too.
Yeah, that video is pretty cool. So you have to watch it.
All right. Next question: will there be a community chat function in the Cyber Republic similar to Telegram style?
yeah, we're going to build that with the party once the teams are up, which is a priority project for the anniversary event. We'll have a basic chat in there.
And if anybody in this group, in the meeting, you have the technology background, you have some time, you want to help us to build it, welcome. Just talk to me or Clarence or KB. You can help us build it. We can give you some error.
If you're a JavaScript guru,
yeah, we are overloaded. Everybody is overloaded. We have a lot of features. We have a lot of ideas during our brainstorming, but we just don't have time. We don't have resources to build it. So as long as you can build it, you can help us build it. Okay, come to us. We give you some reward. You can do that. Helping everybody. Thank you.
Awesome. So the next question is about alpha. We will be able to play with that as a user, or will it be only for developers? So to answer that question, obviously it is an alpha version, so a lot will change before going production. So usually it is geared towards developers because you need a certain skill set where you can you'll have to do a lot of manual work just to download everything, install, build, whatever. So that's what the alpha version is all about. Now, if you wanted to just follow along, because we will have videos, if you wanted to follow along and try it yourself, in your Mac or whatever, then you can feel free to try it. No problem. Okay. C-Note Crypto asked, how is Smart Web Alpha looking? As you saw, we got the demo today, which is not the final demo, but still the first demo. We'll be looking to make improvements on that, but it's looking good.
Hey, I'm curious, KP. That wasn't the exact same thing that Jackie was showing us the other day, was it?
No, he put out a lot of updates.
I see. Okay.
So he actually, he put out like a Docker container image where you could run your own like IPFS and Ditto server. So all of that was pretty easy to do now. So that's why you saw that the video played really fast. All right, next question. I'm new to Elastos and I've read about the merge mining. So my question is it worth investing in Bitmain miners, or will the difficulty of mining Elastos automatically jump to Bitcoins? So the merge mining works a little differently than what you might have thought previously, because even if you merge mine on top of Bitcoin, which we are, the difficulty level, is adjusted for, like, Bitcoin is going to be different compared to Elastos. It's also because of that reason that, and also the timing to, the time to solve that and submit the block to the chain is also different. Like for Bitcoin, it's 10 minutes. For Elastos, for Ella, it's 2 minutes. So they work completely independent of each other. But obviously, so yeah, the difficulty level of Bitcoin has nothing to do with Elastos. Those are two completely different chains. All right. Is Elastos in talks with the Apple App Store for future mobile usage?
I don't think we have any this kind of contact with Apple. And so far I didn't see any necessity to do that. Elastos is an open system. Mm-hmm. Most likely, what you can see from Apple Store will be a application called Elastos. That's exactly what KP just demoed a few minutes ago. So that could be our browser. You can have the DF running inside the browser, inside the Elastos. So the other application, you either make a native application using Elastos SDK, then you're gonna deal with Apple Store to list your application on Apple Store. Or your application is actually totally a web application, a totally D app running in Elastos OS, Elastos Trinity. So in that case, you have nothing to do with Apple. You just running in Elastos, not directly on iOS. So you don't have to deal with the Apple. So I don't really think it's necessary right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Apple has its own policies and Google, I guess there's Google Store, and obviously, the Trinity browser is being targeted. I guess the Trinity, as an Elastos app, is targeted for multiple platforms. So it's gonna the process to put Elastos app on Apple Store. We're gonna have to go through the similar steps as all the other, apps on Apple Store. So that's as far as we can do, right? Like, if Apple decides to reject it, there's nothing we can do, but we'll try. But that doesn't mean that that you won't be able to use it, because you can. It's entirely up to Apple. That's the sort of problems that we're trying to solve with Elastos, so that everything is decentralized. So it's kind of weird to answer that question because we have no real answer, really.
Yeah, and also what's gonna happen next in the future, we don't know. So
right,
because Apple has a pretty restrict requirement on the application listed on App Store. So one of the possible reject reason is the payment, because Apple do not allow the iOS application to have the payment feature in it, or you have to pay Apple tax. Mm-hmm. But Trinity, our application has about it, so that could be considered to be some kind of conflict with the Apple policy. So this is something we don't know yet, and If it happens, we're gonna try to contact with Apple to see how we deal with it. So far we don't know yet. And likely the first version, alpha version, we're gonna release August 25th will be the Android only, as far as I know. I'm not sure, KP, did you get any update on Apple? Yeah, no. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's only being targeted for Android to start with.
Okay.
And I think the goal is to go to iOS after that, and then to other platforms after that.
Yeah, the same as I heard.
Awesome. All right, next question. Will videos lag or be choppy using the IPFS? So that's a question that is really difficult to answer right now because it really depends on the number of nodes there are in the IPFS network. Because the way that it works is, the data is distributed, yes, but if you're like in Australia and then you're trying to access, the video, and there are no nearby nodes, obviously it has to go through a lot of hops to get to your video. In that case, yeah, it will be slow, but then again, we're building the IPFS, the storage side of things. It's being built on top of the whatever view chain the DPFS works. So from what I understand, it's actually not pure IPFS. It's an improved version of IPFS. So even if the current IPFS is really, really slow, ViewChain has actually run a lot of tests, and I myself actually personally asked one of their admins, and then after talking around, they told me that it is very, very fast compared to the regular IPFS, because it's not just the regular IPFS, but also it uses the mobile devices for this network. So it really depends until we go to production and start seeing this applied in in real case scenarios. But it's hard to tell right now.
But
right, it depends on. Go ahead.
You can definitely buffer, and if you buffer enough, it should be fine as long as the connection's stable. But the more important part is what KP mentioned about the mobile devices. If it's a popular video and even though you're in Australia, if your next door neighbor is watching the same video, then he's going to be pulling down that data as well, and he can probably feed it to you as well. So that's an ideal use case. So with more density of people using a video, then it's going to improve the performance greatly.
Right.
Yeah. It depends on the popularity of the content. If the content is popular, like Clash mentioned, it will be very fast because many people have their copy in their local cache.
Right.
Another thing you're going to consider is because we talk about the digital assets a lot. So if you buy, this is very different than the live streaming we currently the existing internet is using. So existing internet, you buy a subscription from Netflix or something, YouTube. You actually you don't own it. You actually just streaming from a server or somewhere else. But in the new internet, or something we call digital assets, when you buy for example, movie, you actually own it. That means you don't really need to download, you don't need to stream it from somewhere else. Actually, you can buy you bought the movie actually can be streaming, download to your digital box in your router or in your home computer or in your phone. It will be actually not streaming, but download to your local. Then you can watch it from local. In that case, you actually do not need to. You don't worry about any chopping or a slow connection, something like that, because you actually own it. Right. That's very different. No, not only for technology part, streaming or downloading, but also for the economic model. It's very different. So maybe it's too long to talk about that right now. Sometime maybe you can have another discussion on what is digital assets and how we deal with the future of new internet. We can discuss that later. That's a very big topic.
Yeah. All right. Another question: have applications for community leaders been looked over? Can we have an update on when the voting and such will be? I guess
I can answer that. So right now, spots are open on first come first served basis. So that's actually pretty good news if you want to be an organizer. If you want to be an organizer for a region or a country that doesn't have an organizer, you'll probably be just almost right after KYC promoted to be an organizer. So it's super easy to become an organizer. We won't have voting, and it's kind of a lower priority lower priority than the other projects I talked about, just because until we reach like a saturation level where there's going to be like 10 people from one country trying to become a leader, we're not going to have voting. Another thing too is you can be a leader of sub-communities, so we're adding that feature soon too. So if, even though there might be 10 organizers already for United States, we'll have one or two for each state, or even your city, or even your school. So there's many ways to become an organizer, and having voting would kind of hinder that ability to bring on more community leaders. So they won't be added till there's too many, basically.
Cool. Next question. Could Elastos OS run without any other OS? So the thing with that is it's a little different when we say OS compared to other OS out there, because the Elastos virtual machine actually runs on top of the existing OS. So it's you don't, the virtual machine, it can't just run by itself. It needs something of a base layer underneath it. But in that sense, it's not really, it's not limited to certain platforms because of that very reason. So, to answer that question in another way, in the future, the goal is to have this virtual machine, the browser, the app, whatever, to be supported in all the major platforms, so that you can just start installing, running your applications, whatever, on any platform out there. I mean, that's the goal. Not sure when we will get there, but starting with Android, iOS, and so on and so forth. That's my take on it.
Yeah, unless you're talking about the actual Elastos OS as opposed to the runtime. I mean, the actual Elastos OS isn't really being maintained anymore, just because it doesn't make any sense to compete with all the other OSs out there. The runtime and the VM is what we're really focusing on.
Right. And some of the majority of the libraries, so a lot of the technologies that were utilized in the original Elastos OS that actually directly runs on top of the hardware, a lot of those, I don't want to go into technical details, but one of those features was component assembly runtime. So stuff like that, all those frameworks are actually already in Elastos runtime. So it's more because of that reason, it doesn't make any sense to have your own, operating system that runs on top of, hardware, because then you're only limited. You're going to have to mass produce these, these phones with Elastos OS running on top of them. And that might take years. And Apple got lucky because they were able to develop their own OS, and also, have that capital to mass produce their, iPhones, whatever, all their phones and things like that. So, whereas in the today's world, everything is virtual. Everything is moving to the cloud. Everything is being virtual. So, in that sense, there's really no reason to compete with any other OS, because we can actually work with them and actually be able to run on top of anything. So, as far as there is an actual Elastos OS, but that is not being actively maintained. The code is there on on GitHub repository, but it's not the priority right now because of all the other projects that are.
Let me add my 2 cents. Yes, what Clarence and KP said was correct. For the phone, like a smartphone, it makes no sense to make a OS running on top of the phones. But the current Elastos OS, actually, it was there, but we just didn't put it a high priority. But it doesn't mean we are not going to do anything in the future. It's still in our plan, but not on the phone at all. So it will be considered on the IoT devices. For example, the routers, the TV set-top box, or camera, or car, or any IoT home devices. So those devices, they are not a phone. They don't have a pretty strong CPU memory to handle intensive calculation or bandwidth. But those devices it can be used, can be designed to use Elastos OS, which is much lighter, just like as light as Linux. So that is the future of Elastos.os project supposed to be. We actually not stopping doing that. We just didn't put the top priority on that. There are some devices is currently we are partner with. They are in China, the manufacturer of routers, manufacturer of the TV top box. They are still working on the Elastos OS, the building the Elastos like a carrier compatible devices. They are working on that now. And a news is in August, I think the 3rd or 4th, there will be a conference, a exhibition. I think the name is China Joy or something. I don't quite remember. That is like a game industry meeting or IoT industry meeting. In that conference, we're going to Elastos and corporate partner with another few companies. They are going to release several IoT devices, including, at least I know they are including a top set box, maybe the router as well, home NAS. It could be in a release during the conference. So those devices are compatible with the carrier. And we actually can run a carrier nodes on it. We can run a digital bus in the TV box. So those will be the future usage of the Elastos OS, but not on our smartphone. That's very clear. That's IoT focus.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty elaborate answer. I think that was clear. So the next question is, I'm just gonna move on because we don't have a lot of time. I asked from Michael, I asked in one of the first virtual meetups whether it would be possible for a non-developer to submit an idea for an app to run on Elastos and basically borrow developers from Elastos to build it out. How will this work considering the shortage of developer resources you currently have? Now, that sort of thing, that I wouldn't, I mean, it is entirely possible, but not anytime soon. You know, when we wrap everything up, you know, all the SDKs out, you know, most of the development is done and things like that. The core team and like other developer community members will have a lot of time, and actually you should be able to do something like that. Like Clarence was saying earlier, you'll be able to form teams to work on your little project, and you know, and like talk among yourself, like basically have a project you all can work on as a team in Cyber Republic. So that sort of thing should be possible. And yeah, that's pretty much
it. Let me add
and
to
also that. for this idea, like you submit an idea and try to borrow some developers from Elastos, not likely happen. The reason is Elastos doesn't have a lot of developers to be borrowed from. What we actually mean is we are building the Cyber Republic. There will be if we do things right, there will be many developers actively running and joining the community. So they are also looking for startup ideas. They are not hired by Elastos. They are just a individual or just a freelance. Then if you post an idea which is really makes sense, and you actually can set up a team, just like Clarence is doing right now, a team feature. You can set up a team, and the freelance developer can join you to become a team. And if the idea it makes sense, business is valid, and also you have a group of developers who really want to work together, and it's possible we actually invest into your application. So that is what original means. It's not something like you borrow a developer from Elastos. Elastos doesn't have a lot of developers to be borrowed from.
Yeah, there will be a disconnect. So we have these idea contests coming up. We'll have a few. We've already had one for Hack Summit. There's going to be one more in India. I think we'll have another one with Deco Network, which is the people who did host Hack Summit. So definitely welcome your ideas. As for how this would actually work for you, creating an idea, there's a disconnect there, right? So you can create the idea, but then if we accept the idea, then it becomes a public idea that anyone can take on. And if it's a public idea, then you have to then go about creating the team, as Kevin said, and then competing to actually do that idea that you actually submitted, but unfortunately we can't just give you the idea because it was your idea. You have to come up with the developer resources. We don't have the developers to give you.
Right, and also to deal with the shortage of the developers, we actually we knew that a long time ago. So that's why we are very actively contacting with the developer community globally.
Yeah.
We actually we are also working with some university. We're going to set up some kind of training center to train the existing developers to learn how to use the newer technology to build the DApps, especially on top of Elastos. So this will be our long-term plan. We're going to train developers. I know even in every country, developers is not enough. And also we're going to do is like we also could have some like not training for existing developer, but also in some university, we're going to have some like a training course, and also online. Like KP probably gonna make some online training courses, like posted into online platform like Udemy or there are a lot of this kind of platform, and the people can learn it by themselves. And once they know how to build the application, especially if those people join the Cyber Republic, they either work for us to work for Elastos, the project, or they can work for as a team member to join your team if your idea makes sense. So that is how we're going to deal with the shortage. And I really hope everybody who actually can refer us to the local developer community so we can get contact with the developers. So they will know there is something called Cyber Republic, and they can learn from the Cyber Republic to learn how to build the DApps on Elastos. By the way, one more thing we're gonna announce is next week. Next weekend, August 4th and 5th. In Silicon Valley, we're going to have a hackathon. It's hosted by ABC blockchain community. We will be there, Clarence and I, we will be there to have a small booth. But because Elastos is not ready to program it yet, so the hackathon will not build application on Elastos for this time. But next time, very likely, we're going to work with ABC blockchain community. We can make a hackathon specifically on Elastos next time, half a year later. So if anybody in Bay Area, welcome to this events. At least we can meet together to have some like a peer-to-peer talk, or you actually can meet more developers if you are looking for developers. I believe the hackathon will attract quite a few developers there. But that's also the reason why we're going to have a booth there, which sponsors this meetup, because we really hope to get connected with the Bay Area local developers community. This is a chance for us and also for you. So if you are Bay Area and if you're free of time that weekend, especially on Sunday afternoon, you're welcome to the booth and talk to us.
Awesome. All right, next question. I think since we're almost out of time, let's just focus on like 2 questions and then we'll be done. All right, the next question is, as for the security aspects of Elastos, has the team made a push to target businesses that can directly and clearly benefit from the added security? For example, IOEX is saving companies money by using their product. Are there other markets the team is targeting that the community is unaware of at this moment that you can comment on? So basically, is there any other companies like IOEX that we're working as far as providing security for them and how we can collaborate with them? As far as I know, I don't know. Do you have an answer to that, Kevin?
No, I need to do some research.
There's always stuff happening in China though that we don't even know about.
Yeah, I guess the next major event actually Kevin just mentioned is in China. I forgot where it is. Yeah, it's the I forgot the name. China Joy.
China Joy, yes.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, we are gonna have our little booth there, and I believe the goal is to like that one is pretty much focused on like IoT and like how you can use blockchain in like games. So I think there I also heard that there might be some demo there. Lots of news coming out. So that's maybe some news will come out of that. But that's as far as we can say. All right, last question, and then we'll be done. Let me pick one question. Okay, well, there's no more questions, but last one is there any chance he'll be back in New York or Philadelphia? Hey, if you live in New York or Philadelphia, you can apply to be an organizer. Or if you know someone who can be an organizer, then you can, refer them to us, and then they can apply to be an organizer and then have those events in Philadelphia or New York or wherever. That's pretty
and if you refer somebody, you can get a bonus as well.
Yes. Yeah, and the task that I showed earlier, you can log in there and then apply over there. All right, I think that's everything. Thanks everyone. We'll put this recorded video on YouTube as usual, and I'll be putting the slides on GitHub page. So unless anyone else has any other, Clarence and Kevin, if you have anything to add, otherwise we'll call it a day.
No, pretty much. And thank you for coming, everybody.
Yeah, just a small note to anyone that actually is coming to the anniversary, the organizers that are at this meeting. The Chinese organizers have decided that we need to upload photos of your passports. So expect an email in the coming 12 hours, I think. We'll ask for that, give you more details.
Cool.
Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.